So I think we all like came to a consensus that pastoral farming is better than industrial farming. I think that's kind of the message of the book.
Yes, most definitely.
But what are the advantages and disadvantages of doing this? Like,
cut.
what are the advantages and disadvantages of this? Like, okay, we talked pretty much about the advantages, but like disadvantages then. Like how...
I believe the disadvantages of grass-fed corn here.
Grass-fed corn?
Francis.
I believe what he's trying to say is the disadvantage of grass-fed beef. Either way, I would assume they lose a lot of their crops if it's organic, because they don't have the pesticides to keep the bugs off it or keep it from dying. So I guess a lot of their crops will die, which cuts their yield in half.
On his farm, like a lot of the pests were like eaten by the chickens, for example.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like there's a more natural way of keeping pests from eating
there has to be,
fruit and vegetables.
All, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like it works for him.
Yeah, chickens
right?
take care of
But
everything.
how, in terms of the population of the world and how much food we have to make for everybody to eat,
ridiculous, man.
Does it work?
He suggested that we have little local farms located just not too far from whatever marketplace you shop at, right? Which I think is a pretty good idea. There's a local farmers market that goes on down my street every Saturday. It's fun. I mean,
that is something that he mentioned, like having markets in the cities, because Michael Pollan says to him, like, oh, well, what about like cities? Like, you can't have farms to feed cities in the city. It just doesn't work that way. And his answer was like, screw cities, pretty much. But you know, there are some options, and one of them is like markets and stuff, which there's quite a few in the big cities. I think people do care,
right.
And they are willing to go the extra mile sometimes to get something that's fresher,
right,
or more local. And that's, you know, before we're talking about like, do people really care when it comes to price and stuff? I think they do. They do and they don't. Like, price is obviously an issue, but
what's more important to people, their health and their well-being, or what they're eating on the amount of money they have.
Okay. What else do we have?
I guess based on what you know, would you keep buying organic, or would you keep buying?
I most definitely would keep buying organic, only because it's healthier, and in the end, you benefit from it so much more. So much more. There's so many more like natural vitamins and minerals that you get from something being grass-fed than you do when it's pumped with corn. And I feel like it benefit our children in the future, in the near future.
I definitely would. Like, you know, to an extent, right? Sometimes you're just like, you just want the cheap generic brand because you know that the difference is not, I think with every product, maybe that it's different. Like, some products it's like, oh, it's worth it. It's worth it to pay 3 times the price because it's that much better. Or it's something that's really important to you. But with some things, the difference is kind of like, so you're like, I'll go with what's cheaper.
Personally, when I bought those cucumbers today, $4 a piece, I found it really ridiculous, so I might switch back to regular cucumbers just because I don't really have the money to get
well, it's like what, like $1.50 or $2 a cucumber as opposed to like $4.50.
Yeah.
But what did you think it tasted like?
I felt it had a lot more flavor because it wasn't pumped full of crap to keep it from dying.
Right. So you could definitely taste the difference in flavor, right?
Oh, for sure.
So you're saying you wouldn't go back to buy it again?
It depends all on how much money I had at that time. If I had enough, I would definitely buy organic. But
okay, so then it
the
comes
fact
out
that
the
it's
price
expensive kind of throws me off though.
Yeah, and I guess that's they've got to find a way to like make it more reasonably priced for regular people, so that way we wouldn't have to buy the big organic, right?
Is there a way to make it more reasonably priced though? Like,
most certainly, there most certainly is. We just need more of it, right?
I guess the organic farms would need a lot more help.
Right.
It can't just be the whole 3 farmers harvesting all these crops. They need a lot more people if they wanted to expand and grow more crops. But it could be done for sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
do you think sometimes that maybe companies charge more money for things that are organic because they're organic? Like, do you think that it actually costs that much more? Or do you think that they're adding a few extra dollars per pound just because they can, because they're selling?
I believe it's just because they can.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I don't want to say anything about that because
I haven't.
it could be both. It could be it's really expensive, and if they want to put a little bit more on.
Well, it would make sense to me that there are higher costs in operating.
If their crops are dying, it is a higher cost for sure. But
So maybe that's the way they average the cost.
by how much crop they lose
lost, yeah.
versus how much. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That
Just raise the
makes
prices
a lot of
depending
sense.
on that. Because I don't think, like reading this book, that he's trying to gain anything from, like, you know, he's not trying to become a millionaire. He just wants to run his farm, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And live in peace.
I liked how he refused to ship his stuff for miles and miles. because
Yeah,
it's
he was
not
quite
his
the
idea
character.
of organic. I found that pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. That's the whole reason why he actually went to the farm, because he wanted to see
Yeah.
it. He's like, I want to see what this guy's all about. Cool.
I guess. Do you think the author would have been happy with the organic meal we threw together?
I think he would be very displeased
I kind of have to agree with Francis there.
because a lot of the components of our meal weren't organic, but we put in a valiant effort. So I feel like maybe in some ways
If he was
he
giving
would
us a
find us.
grade, we would have passed. I hope.
We
We could have done better for sure.
Well, I think like we tried, and that was the whole point, was to try, right, and to see if it could be done.
Yeah, organic's definitely not easy.
I did notice a difference in taste a lot. Like I
It
found
was a
a
good
lot
meal,
better.
like it was, you know, and especially because we kind of made some of it up last minute.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good.
For sure.